And we're going to move to today's business news. Stephen is with us here on set. A rough return to the stock markets for the troubled Chinese property giant Evergrande, Stephen.
Evergrande's shares have been suspended for 2 weeks. This was after they said they were looking for an offer for one of the units of the business. They're back trading today. They have slumped, though, in trading as it emerged that that offer has collapsed. Evergrande is in the middle of a liquidity crisis that's fueled worries over the Chinese property sector as a whole. The company has debts of more than $300 billion and has already missed a string of payments over the past month. Evergrande risks being declared officially in default this Saturday when a 30-day grace period for the first missed payment will expire. In Hong Kong today, the company's shares are trading down around 13% on the Hong Kong Hang Seng Index. The firm's share price has lost more than 80% of its value this year. You can see they're 13% down a short time ago. Well, there were better fortunes for the electric car maker Tesla. Meanwhile, it reported record net profits of $1.6 billion for the 3 months to the end of September. That's up by nearly 400% compared to last year. Tesla also delivered a record number of vehicles over the 3 months. That's interesting because it appears the company hasn't been affected in the same way as its rivals by the global shortage of semiconductor microchips. By comparison, deliveries by General Motors in the US fell by almost a third over the same period. Now, here in France, the cost of a second-hand smartphone could be about to go up. The French Senate is debating extending a tax on digital devices to those that aren't purchased new, but those who work reconditioning phones to be resold say the tax puts their jobs at risk. Brian Quinn has the story.
Taking a sledgehammer to France's circular economy. That's what smartphone resellers say a new bill aimed at reducing the environmental impact of digital devices would do. Currently making its way through the Senate, the bill would extend an existing special tax for new smartphones onto second-hand or reconditioned ones as well.
On sait que plus on va reconditionner, réparer, prendre soin de son téléphone, moins on va ponctionner les matières premières et plus on va lutter contre le réchauffement climatique. Donc on demande à changer de paradigme pour arrêter de produire, arrêter de jeter, mais réparons et faisons circuler les produits.
Introduced in 1985, the levy was set up to compensate artists for copies of their work made by consumers. It now averages €10 per digital device. In 2020, that generated 7% of the Culture Ministry's budget. In May, more than 1,600 artists published a letter in support of the tax. But its extension to used items threatens to upend a sector that represents an estimated 10,000 French jobs. At this Paris area company, some 600,000 phones are reconditioned and resold every year.
Soit en fait on va prendre la décision de directement ajouter les 10 € sur le prix de vente au client final, soit on va devoir nous en fait l'intégrer dans nos marges et donc venir vraiment fortement diminuer les marges.
The company expects a loss of €3 million should the tax be extended. Reconditioned devices currently account for around 15% of the French smartphone market. The manufacture of new digital devices is estimated to be responsible for more than 80% of the tech sector's environmental impact.
Let's take a look at what's happening on the stock markets next for you. European markets starting the day in the red. Travel and leisure shares, the biggest fallers at the open. That, of course, linked to concerns over rising coronavirus cases in some parts of Europe. That's the picture across London, Paris and Frankfurt. In Asia earlier, there was a lot of worry about Evergrande among investors across Asia. The Hang Seng Hong Kong down by 0.75%, falls 2 in the Kospi and Seoul. And the Nikkei in Tokyo down 1.9% at the end of trading there as well. Chinese property worries really extending beyond the borders then of China. Well, we'll stay in China for the next story, which is that regulators have dropped the business publication CAIXIN from its official list of sources. That means its articles can no longer be used by online news sites in China. CAIXIN is one of the best-known business news sources in the country. It often reports on official corruption. It had been recognised as an official source since 2016. It's the latest move by Chinese regulators to crack down on media. Most foreign outlets are already blocked for internet users. And finally from me, could PayPal be about to get into social media? Reports today saying the payments firm is in talks to buy Pinterest, a deal which could be worth over $40 billion. If an agreement is reached, it would represent a further push by PayPal into e-commerce. Pinterest gives users a sort of virtual board to pin pictures or articles. It's particularly popular for interior design ideas. It has 450 million users worldwide. Its shares have almost trebled since they went public in 2019. On news of these takeover talks, Pinterest shares up by almost 13% on Wall Street. Put a pin in that.
Very nicely put, Stephen Carroll. Thanks very much, Stephen Carroll with Business. Can't bring you our press review today, I'm afraid.